Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's unstoppable prodigy, unleashed a performance that shattered records and rewrote history. In one electrifying game, she single-handedly dismantled the league's top team, leaving fans roaring and rivals speechless. With razor-sharp precision and fearless swagger, Clark's iconic takedowns sparked a frenzy, cementing her legend. What fueled this epic clash? How did she dominate the Giants? Strap in as we dive into the heart-pounding drama, unpack every game-changing moment, and reveal why this day shook the WNBA to its core. Fever electrifying showdown against Liberty. Caitlin Clark's long-awaited return was nothing short of a statement. After spending 3 weeks sidelined with a quad injury, she stepped back onto the court on Saturday night and instantly reminded the basketball world exactly why her absence had been felt so deeply. Her reappearance was not about easing back into rhythm. It was about seizing control and proving she was still the most electrifying player in the game. Her first minutes back told the story. From the left wing to the right wing, more than 30 feet from the basket, she crossed over, rose up, and launched a shot from the logo, draining it effortlessly. But even before the fireworks began, the game carried its own drama. The referees, true to an unfortunate pattern, inserted themselves early with a questionable technical foul on Clark, a call that seemed more about ego than fair play. What followed made any officiating blunder irrelevant. Clark unleashed one of the most devastating scoring bursts in recent WNBA memory. 3 three-pointers in just 38 seconds. The sequence included a step back over two-time MVP Breanna Stewart, who could only smile and shake her head in disbelief. By the end of the night, Clark had tallied 32 points, shattering the New York Liberty's perfect season. The stage she walked into could not have been more daunting. The Liberty arrived in Indianapolis undefeated at 9-0, boasting the league's most suffocating defense, allowing just 88.1 points per 100 possessions. They were the defending champions and looked every bit unstoppable. But Clark had no intention of testing her leg with half-speed minutes. "I didn't want to come back unless I was 100%. She had made clear. "Why play 20 minutes when I'm here to win and give everything I have?" Right from the opening possession, she was orchestrating the offense, finding Kelsey Mitchell for an easy layup, then firing a pinpoint full-court pass to Aaliyah Boston for the State Farm assist of the game. Still, even with Clark playing well early, the Liberty's offense was relentless. Surging ahead 17-6 with an 11-0 run. Fever fans, accustomed to slow starts, braced for another uphill battle. Then came the spark. With 3 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter, Clark checked back in, her eyes betraying a simple message. This game now belonged to her. The takeover began. A 34-foot three-pointer at the 126 mark that sliced through the net with surgical precision, followed by another deep shot from 28 feet just 21 seconds later. And finally, a 31-footer with 43 seconds left to complete the hat-trick. Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted. By halftime, Clark had already scored 25 points on 6 for 9 shooting from beyond the arc, all in just 15 minutes of play. But the second half was where the Fever would fully seize control. New York came out strong after the break, building a 59-53 lead and threatening to repeat their comeback victory from May. Instead, Indiana erupted with a stunning 19-0 run that dismantled the Liberty's confidence. Kelsey Mitchell's cuts to the rim, Lexi Hull's steals, and Aaliyah Boston's deft footwork inside all fueled the surge. Clark, of course, punctuated it with yet another deep three, stretching the lead into double digits. Moments later, Dana Bonner, capitalizing on the Liberty's disarray, hit a three to cap a 25-3 run, pushing the Fever's advantage to 15. However, with Caitlin Clark temporarily out of the action, the New York Liberty adjusted their defense by assigning Breanna Stewart to guard her from 25 feet away, aiming to shut down her trademark long-range logo three-pointers. However, pulling their best rebounder that far from the basket created vulnerabilities. The Indiana Fever took advantage with Christy Wallace and Lexi Hull helping keep the ball alive after missed attempts. As the shot clock wound down, Christy Carlson connected on a deep three-pointer. And soon after, Aaliyah Boston powered her way inside for a physical and one finish against Honshu. Momentum began to swell for Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell found herself with ample room to operate, and she wasted no time. She erupted for 10 points in the fourth quarter alone, highlighted by a critical corner three-pointer with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining, extending the Fever's lead and essentially sealing the game. Another late game Mitchell 3 pushed the lead to 15 points, an exclamation point that Indiana's social media would later label the dagger. Caitlin Clark's stat line was a commanding reminder of her impact. 32 points, 7 three-pointers, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds in just 31 minutes. She accomplished all of this while ending the Liberty's undefeated season. And she did so after missing 3 weeks with a quad injury. The Liberty, previously unbeaten, surrendered more points than in any other game that year, falling 102-88 in front of another sold-out crowd. Even NBA star LeBron James took to social media to comment on the CC effect. Despite questionable technical fouls called against her and the challenge of facing the reigning champions, Clark's performance reinforced that she operates at a level few can match. After the game, Clark reflected on her rhythm. She explained that seeing her first three-pointer fall gave her confidence, especially when she quickly followed it with 2 more in transition. Hitting 3 consecutive shots early boosted her mindset for the rest of the night. By the second quarter, she was finding open looks as well as making difficult contested shots. Each attempt felt smooth and clean off her hand, a feeling that every great scorer knows is the foundation for a dominant performance. So, what exactly did Caitlin do to ignite this? Unstoppable momentum? Let's break it down. Caitlin's groundbreaking technique. From the moment Caitlin Clark first stepped onto the court at the University of Iowa, she began rewriting the unspoken rules of basketball. Where others saw limits, she saw opportunities. Where traditional wisdom warned against certain shots, she embraced them. Her philosophy on the game, especially regarding shooting range and positioning, has always defied convention. And now in her first professional season, she is proving that these ideas are not just bold, they are effective. Clark has turned the court into her personal canvas, often launching three-pointers from distances that most coaches would call reckless or low percentage. Some of her most breathtaking makes have come from several feet beyond the WNBA three-point arc, occasionally flirting with midcourt. But these are not wild, desperate heaves. They are deliberate, calculated weapons in her arsenal. The key to her effectiveness lies in a concept analysts have started calling gravity manipulation. Simply by being on the floor, Clark forces defenders to abandon conventional positioning. Her range stretches defensive schemes so far that teams are pulled out of their natural shape, leaving vast open lanes for her teammates. And when she shoots, her mechanics are as precise as a clockmaker's gears. High release, perfect rotation, and enough power to keep her accuracy intact, even from near impossible distances. Some experts are beginning to wonder if Clark's style signals a turning point in basketball strategy. Clark's rookie season statistics are not just good, they are the type that shake up decades of basketball theory. She averaged 19.22 points per game, shooting 34.4% from deep while attempting 8.13 per game. That's a rare combination of volume and efficiency in WNBA history. Almost 44% of her total shots came from beyond the arc, a staggering ratio for any professional player. Her effective field goal percentage, a metric that rewards the extra value of three-pointers, stood at 52.9%, proving that even her so-called bad shots often pay off. And she's not just a shooter. Her assist-to-turnover ratio of 2.31 shows she can create for others, turning defensive chaos into clean scoring opportunities for her teammates. Advanced analytics reveal that her average shot distance is far beyond the league norm, with many of her made threes coming from zones that most players wouldn't dare to attempt. For anyone else, these would be considered ill-advised shots. For Clark, they are business as usual. Opposing teams have been forced to redesign their defenses entirely to deal with her. Traditionally, defenders extend their pressure only to the three-point line. Against Clark, they're picking her up near half court, sometimes earlier. This opens up huge driving lanes for the Indiana Fever's other players, both in transition and in set plays. Some coaches have resorted to box and one defenses, assigning one player to shadow Clark at all times, regardless of where the ball is. Others send double teams the moment she crosses half court. These strategies often leave the Fever playing 4-on-3 offensively, a dangerous situation for any defense. The question now is whether this style can be sustained for entire seasons and whether other WNBA players will soon adopt similar long-range skills, forcing the league into a new era of offensive basketball. But could her approach influence how the next generation of players see the game of basketball? Let's find out. Caitlyn's impact on future players. Caitlin Clark's ability to score from far beyond the usual shooting range has not only rewritten the rules for professional basketball, but has also left a deep mark on how the game is taught, trained, and played across the United States. Youth basketball programs, private trainers, and skill development camps are seeing a surge of interest from young players desperate to copy her range and her near-effortless shooting motion. Many dream of hitting shots from the logo just like she does, and they're willing to put in the hours of practice it takes to get there. Training facilities now report a sharp rise in requests for specialized extended-range shooting sessions, where athletes focus on building the strength, precision, and muscle memory required to make such long shots without sacrificing accuracy. Coaches at both the high school and college levels are rethinking old offensive playbooks, realizing that in the hands of a confident and skilled shooter, deep three-point attempts can be a powerful and efficient weapon. This shift is also reshaping strength and conditioning programs as trainers design new regimens to build explosive power through proper mechanics, core stability, and balance. Essential ingredients for long-distance shooting. Sports development experts are beginning to ask a provocative question. Could Clark's influence spark a whole generation of players who focus more on extreme-range shooting than on traditional basketball fundamentals? If so, the sport's entire tactical landscape could change, tilting more toward perimeter firepower than post play or mid-range attacks. On the court, every possession involving Clark becomes a chess match between her offensive creativity and the defense's ability to adapt. Her unlimited range stretches defenders far beyond their comfort zones, forcing opposing coaches to make tough choices, guard her closely, and risk leaving teammates open or play her at a distance and watch her drain shots from what should be impossible spots. These decisions ripple through substitution patterns, defensive rotations, and even timeout usage as teams constantly adjust strategies in real time. Coaches must also consider whether their players have the speed, communication skills, and stamina to keep up with her relentless movement. The challenge isn't just physical, it's mental. Defenders know that even a split second of hesitation can lead to Clark hitting a shot from absurd distances, which eats away at their confidence and forces them into errors. Her influence has also changed the way games are broadcast. Television crews have had to adjust camera angles to capture her full shooting range and the scramble it causes in defenses. Commentators now use fresh terms and new statistical tools to explain what viewers are seeing, since her deep shots would have once been considered desperation heaves, but are now part of her normal offensive arsenal. These moments create instant highlight reel material, perfect for viral social media clips and WNBA marketing. Replay technology and on-screen graphics now often spotlight the extraordinary difficulty and improbability of her makes, helping fans appreciate just how revolutionary her skills are. Meanwhile, media coverage of women's basketball has grown more analytical, diving deeper into the tactics and strategies that coaches employ to contain her, if she can be contained at all. Could Caitlin Clark's phenomenal shooting be the spark that takes basketball analytics into a whole new era? Let's find out. Clark's shooting effect and analytics. In recent years, Caitlin Clark's remarkable shooting ability has pushed the world of basketball analytics into entirely new territory. Experts who study the game have had to invent fresh ways to measure and explain her impact, not just on her own scoring numbers, but on the overall efficiency and strategy of her team's offense. Traditional box scores and shooting percentages no longer tell the full story. To truly understand her long-range success, shot tracking technology has been upgraded. These systems now capture ultra-detailed data, recording the arc of the ball, the speed at which it leaves her hands, and even how quickly it spins through the air. Every number helps reveal the science behind how she can regularly hit shots from distances that most players wouldn't even attempt. The search for answers hasn't stopped at a fence. Analysts are creating complex statistical models that use spatial maps and probability calculations to figure out the best possible defensive plans against shooters like Clark. These models show coaches where defenders should be positioned, how quickly they should close out, and even how the risk changes based on where Clark is on the court. Combining player tracking technology with traditional stats has uncovered surprising patterns in how her presence alone reshapes the floor. Teammates move differently, spacing opens up, and scoring chances appear in places that didn't exist before. All because defenders are forced to guard far beyond the three-point line. This has led many to wonder if the current ways of evaluating players can even keep up with someone who plays so far outside the usual rules and expectations. Her influence is forcing a quiet revolution in the WNBA's coaching strategies. Entire offensive playbooks are being reimagined to include deep shooting as a core weapon rather than a rare gamble. Practice sessions now feature extended-range shooting drills, situational training for unusual spacing, and defensive countermeasures for players who can score from almost anywhere. Scouting reports have grown thicker, with detailed breakdowns of long-range tendencies from different spots on the floor. Assistant coaches are even being assigned as specialists focused entirely on teaching players how to defend against extraordinary range or how to replicate it themselves. Player development programs across the league are adapting too, with more young athletes being trained to pose a scoring threat the moment they step over half court. So, could her success push the world toward fully embracing the American style of three-point shooting and wide open spacing that has until now been slower to spread in other basketball cultures? Let's take a closer look. Caitlin Clark's global basketball revolution. Caitlin Clark's fearless and game-changing style of basketball has gone far beyond the borders of the United States. Her extraordinary approach has caught the attention of coaches, scouts, and strategists from leagues all over the world. International basketball programs, from professional clubs in Europe to national teams preparing for global tournaments, are now studying her every move, her techniques. 7. Her decision-making, and the way she redefines court spacing and shot selection. European leagues, which for decades have relied on different tactical styles than the American game, are beginning to weave elements of Clark's long-range shooting and spacing principles into their offensive strategies. Even national team coaches are rethinking their plans for Olympic and World Championship competition. Knowing that a player like Clark changes the way the game is played at the highest level, some basketball federations are even discussing whether rules or court dimensions might eventually need to change to keep up with the growing number of players developing Clark-level range. Clark's success has also sparked a wave of creativity in basketball training technology. Shooting machines and rebounding systems are being redesigned so players can practice from far beyond the traditional three-point arc distances that used to be considered impractical for regular training. Strength and conditioning specialists are building programs tailored specifically to help players generate the power and precision needed to hit shots from extreme range without sacrificing accuracy. Sports scientists are studying the biomechanics of Clark's shooting, her balance, her release, the force generated from her legs and core to create new drills and training methods. Basketball manufacturers are even exploring whether the design of balls, rims, or court surfaces could subtly influence shooting performance and how to make sure those elements remain consistent across leagues. Cutting-edge tools like motion capture cameras and biomechanical feedback systems are being used to give players exact data on their mechanics, helping them repeat perfect form every time. Guarding Caitlin Clark isn't just a physical challenge. It's a psychological one. Defenders can't relax anywhere past half court because a single moment of hesitation could lead to Clark sinking a shot from what most would consider impossible distance. This constant mental pressure forces opponents to expand their defensive awareness to an area of the court they normally wouldn't guard, increasing communication demands, energy use, and focus. Over the course of a long season, this mental strain can wear players down. Coaches facing Clark must dedicate extra time in practice to retrain defensive instincts and prepare their teams for her unique threat. And when she makes one of her trademark deep threes, the emotional effect can flip the game's momentum instantly. something traditional basketball statistics can't fully measure. Clark's style has started a larger conversation about creativity and risk-taking in sports. Her bold shot selection challenges decades of safe basketball wisdom and encourages a culture where unique skills are valued over strict adherence to old strategies. Fans have embraced this change. Stadiums light up when she shoots from near half court, and social media explodes with clips of her plays, often going viral far beyond typical basketball audiences. Even analysts and former players are divided. Some see her as a pioneer pushing the sport forward, while others worry it's moving away from fundamental skills. But one thing is certain, she's making basketball more exciting, and her influence is inspiring younger players to try new things. League officials are watching closely, ready to make changes to rules or court layouts if extended shooting range becomes too dominant. Around the world, coaches are incorporating her influence into how they teach and strategize, signaling that Clark's impact may reshape basketball on every level, from playgrounds to professional arenas. So, what do you think about Caitlin Clark defeating the top team in the WNBA? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.